Hi, Drew. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Bailey. How are you?
I'm so good. I hear that you're a Texas boy. So are you in Texas right now or?
I'm not. I'm actually in Georgia, but I head back late February to finish up a series out in Austin, Texas. I'm excited to get back to.
Oh, I've got a lot of family in Austin too. I'm in Dallas right now. So at
Yeah.
least you're missing the Snowmageddon 2.0 that's going on outside of my window right now. I was so worried I would not have power for this interview because Texas cannot handle this snow.
Well, we had that huge snowstorm and ice storm last year. It just
Yes.
everything. So
Were you here for that one or did you?
no,
So
no.
you're just missing all the bad. Why am I here and you get to skip out on those bad
But
times?
luck of the draw, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. So what are you doing in Georgia right now?
We just finished up production, and I had to run off and do some ADR for another project we did in North Carolina. And then I'm taking some time off. I bought a little place here because we're out here a lot, and I love the countryside. I'm a Texas boy. I'm a country boy, but
Yeah.
we bought a little farmhouse. We've been kind of escaping to, and just enjoying being able to travel again as much as we can. Because of all the COVID and getting past that and being active.
Yeah. So I wanted to hear your accent before I asked first. Clearly you're a Texas boy, I can hear your accent, but you amped it up in this movie. I mean, you had to. It's a Western. So I'm
Yeah.
curious, was there anyone that you modeled that accent off of? Any grandpa, any celebrity that you looked at their draw for?
So my great grandfather, he was a big man. He was 6'8" and just
Ooh.
kind of he wore a flat top everywhere, and he worked
Yeah.
for a good year. But I called him Gaga, and he had the biggest Southern draw. I mean, it was just, and so I wanted to use him in it. I try to change it up every Western. I've done, I think, 15 now.
Yeah.
Um, but every character is different and you approach them differently. And so I wanted to give a little piece of my great grandfather in with them. And so I kind of challenged him a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, anytime I'm around my Nana, all of a sudden that draw comes out. There's something that being around another Southern person does to you. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I figured it was something from your heritage that you could grab onto there.
Yeah. Well, I wish I sounded like this all the time, but this is partially a cold. So I can't take credit for it all.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, that adds a little raspiness there. So,
Yeah.
like you said, you do a lot of Westerns. What draws you to this genre?
I mean, my spirit animals are horses and dogs. And I always tell everybody I was born in the wrong generation. I should have been born in the 1800s, and I'd have been happy. I really would. I'm an outdoors guy. I love being outdoors, working with my hand. I love a good fire pit,
Mhm.
uh, and I love horses. And so
Yeah.
it's my world for sure.
That's fun. That was one of my other questions. I was going to ask you. There are pros and cons to each, time period, but I was going to ask you which one, if you could, that you would live in, and you pick back in the day.
I do. I do. I think you look at all the movies and how it's portrayed and stuff, and I think there's some definitely truth within that. But I think there's also, you look at today and age and honesty within human beings and relationships, and meeting a stranger, getting to know somebody, and being able to jump off and do whatever you want with those people, because of their kind-heartedness and good spiritedness. And I think they had a lot of that back then.
Mhm.
It was hard for sure, but if we didn't have it today, would we really miss it? Would we really
Yeah,
know any better? So it's kind of,
true.
you balance out to the atmosphere around you, and you adapt, and I think you make the best of it, like we do today. We just have all the toys and technology today, but
I know. It makes it a little easier though. You wouldn't have to, have that gunshot wound to be riding on a horse. You could get in a car and go to wherever you needed to go. Because that seems a little painful. I'm not gonna lie. I would pick the car any day. I would pick the car. Okay,
oh,
so
right.
you play Kansas Red, and I love your character. He's kind of like stubborn on the outside, but I would say a little bit of a softie on the inside. He has that tender heart. And I'm curious what drew you to this character and what you think you have in common with him.
I like, yeah, I was always a shy, introvert, misunderstood kid growing up, right? And so I kind of sheltered myself around being outdoors and being around animals, and I just felt like I related to the animals better than people. And I became a loner, and it was sad. It wasn't until I got out of the military that I kind of opened up and blossomed into, I guess you call me an extrovert now, but it I could relate to a guy wanting to be in his shell and being alone because of his past, you know, and he doesn't want. I feel like that Kansas Red, he was always, everywhere he went, he was trying to avoid trouble, but trouble always found him. And he had a big heart, and so he couldn't just walk away from the innocent, and so he had to stick his foot in even where he didn't want to.
I just watched him grow even over the movie and open up his heart. So that's very interesting that you said you grew, you kind of came out of the military and then opened up. I mean, I can see some similarities there. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then you find somebody that has, you know, like Leslie, Vanessa's character, that has a true heart as well. That's just passionate about what she's chasing, and not just the picture what she thinks it is, and strong-willed, and kind of puts Kansas in his place during the process. You see that love dynamic kind of grow within it. And originally it wasn't set to be that strong, and we just kept kind of dialing it in as we went along, and we just played with it and feathered it, the romantic side of it, until it got to the point where it needed to be, you know, shown. And we felt really good about it. Her husband and my wife were such a great sport, and we went to dinner with them many times, and it was just such a relaxing set that you could go in and play with it without having the preconceived notions or the gratuitous objectable side of it.
Yeah. I mean, you had some amazing co-stars in this movie. We've got Trace Adkins in there. Had you met him before? Like, was that your first time meeting him?
No, I've met her before, but I actually worked with his Victoria's wife on a previous show about 11 years ago. But yeah, when Trace got on, I remember, I'll never forget, Trace was on, we did the first scene, and Trace looked at me, he goes, "You're good, man." I go, "Oh, thanks."
Hey, that is a confidence booster right there.
I listen to his music all the time.
Did he ever break out into like honky tonk badonky donk, or was he just serious on set?
Every once in a while. No, I mean, he's I guess the best that you can say, because I've said it so many times about him, he's a constant professional.
Yeah.
Huge historical buff. He is.
Oh, wow.
I mean, his knowledge is behind it is unbelievable, but he's also just a gentle giant. He's a lot of fun to be around. He kids around. He'll play with you. He'll follow suit, and he takes life serious when it needs to be, like we all do. And then outside of that, it's just a ride.
Well, speaking of a little lighthearted, I have a little lighthearted question for you. So Kansas Red is kind of like your cowboy name, okay? So what would your name be back in the day? What do you think?
Man, I met my wife on a Western called Henry Myers. So I'm really fond of Henry.
Oh, Henry Myers. There you go. That's a good one. I'm trying to think what mine would be. Do you just take where you're from? It's just like Texas Bailey or something like that?
It's kind of like your first animal, the road you lived on.
Right. Okay.
You know, something in that nature that kind of fits it all together.
My first animal was Max, like everyone else's was. So I don't know if that would make me special or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, another big thing on this movie was, the shootouts, the gun scenes, and you were in the military. You know the importance of gun safety. And with everything that's happened in the past year, there's just an eye on the importance of it. So I'm curious, what were the precautions you guys kind of took on set?
Well, the beauty of the set that I was on is that they don't have any live ammo. It's all done in post. And so the guns themselves are active in the sense that they're real guns, but majority of them, the firing pins are taken out of. So the safety features on them are, even if it was a bullet in there, which there wasn't none on the set, which is, it's something that's happening. A lot of armories are going to aerosol guns where they shoot nothing, but when they still kind of spark and they puff of smoke because of the aerosol on it, but they look very real, and the action of them is very real. In any sense, you need to always be, take precautions and be safe with handling any gun.
Yeah.
But that being said, this set, it was so safe in the sense that Lionsgate in post-production, they did everything in post and made it look so real. And that's the kind of stuff we can do nowadays because of the technology.
Yeah, it's amazing what post-production can do.
Yeah.
So I have one more question. This is going to be in select theaters on demand. When you're watching this movie or any movie, what do you like to have as your movie theater snack with you?
Oh gosh, I'm a big licorice guy. So
Licorice?
I love licorice.
True.
Listen, I'm the old young kid that
No.
gets Diet Coke and Twizzler and bites it out and uses it as a
Yeah.
straw during the process of it. So
All right, everyone, get your licorice and go watch Desperate Riders.
Not black licorice though. I don't like the taste of black licorice.
Okay, okay. That was a redeeming comment. I'm fine. Get your Twizzlers, get your licorice, and I hope everyone watches Desperate Riders, starring Drew Waters, on February 25th. Thank you so much for talking with me.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
'Cause there's a God, but you know I'm not him.
Damn. I put a bullet in your head.
Ain't nothing wrong with taking the law in your own hands.
Where's my gun?
Standing at the gates of heaven.
Holster your pistol, Larson.
Well, this just keeps getting better and better.